So, when it comes to teaching writing to students in grades 4 through 8, I've been sharing with you how I revamped my writing program completely. And this was because I left the classroom for a while. I wrote children's books. And so I was away from the classroom for like at least 7 years. I traveled around, I shared my books at schools, I gave presentations, I helped train teachers. And in that process, I learned how to be a writer. I learned how to work with an editor. I learned what they were expecting. And there was so much that I had to learn. I'd never learned a lot of this stuff. And my editors were kind of, my first editor in particular, was really kind of like helped, like trained me on the expectations. I had a lot of that basic, you know, some talent. I knew how to tell a story. I found my voice and all of that. But there were just specifics on how to get the whole thing done and done in an amount of time that I learned. And when I got back to the classroom, I realized I'm not really mimicking what's going on in real life. I want my program to be similar to how an author or a person out there trying to run their own business, how they would use writing every day and the skills and the routines that they need to build in order to do that. Because it's not just process, it is routine. And so my program focuses not on the products that they make, but on them as writers. So we've been talking about confidence, we've been talking about developing leadership roles for them, practicing skills, and now we're doing our pit stop where we're going to talk about feedback and grading. So let's go to my screen. All right, here we are in this kind of like little mini playlist here. We talked about confidence, voice activity, ownership, skills, and now we're at our pit stop here. And in this pit stop, we're just going to focus on how do I give them feedback on the writing that they're doing and when do I stop and grade them. I'm going to go through each of those 3 different areas first. It's later we can get into essays and stuff, but I think that's kind of obvious that you're going to grade them on an essay. Everybody seems to do that. But what do you do with all this other writing? I do give them feedback and I grade them on warm-ups, workshop, and CER. So here is what I do. Let's go through each one of these. The first is with warm-ups, and what I use Class Kick. That's where they do their warm-ups for me because I love it because it's just versatile because they can either do it by hand and take a picture and pop it in there, or they much prefer to type. My students do. And I give them digital stickers and you can create your own in there. They count for points. You can have your own little comment on there and I can see the whole screen. So when they've gotten like number 1, that first sentence combining that I talked about, that was so important. They have to get that one perfect in order to earn the point. And when I say perfect, I mean perfect. It has to have the capital letter, the comma, the conjunction, the period, and everything has to be spelled correctly. I think it's good habit to let them know when expectations change with different types of activities and writing that you do. And when you give them enough like emotional writing deposits in their little writing bank, they're much more willing to deal with your high expectations when you allow them to do multiple different things. So they'll get 1 point for that. They'll get a point for doing the test prep. I don't necessarily, it doesn't have to be correct or not. They have to try it and they have to try their quick write. I make it a minimum of 3 sentences every day. So it's 1 point per task. First one has to be perfect in order to earn that point. So they're earning 3 points per week just on doing those warm-ups. In our weekly workshop, I give them feedback through what we call diamond mining. I have a lot of other videos about that whole process. We'll get into it. We'll get into more of that. But I'm looking around as they're writing toward the end of which students are demonstrating the skill that we've been talking about, or a different skill that we haven't talked about in a while, or maybe they tried something new, or maybe they hit a line length goal. Like I'm looking for all the amazing things that they're doing and pointing that out. They also are asked to highlight which skill they practiced that day. For me, it doesn't necessarily have to be the one that I gave them the lesson on, which is totally up to you if you're comfortable with that or not. I am, but you might feel like, hey, I just taught you this lesson on complex sentences. I want to see a complex sentence in your writing today. Totally up to you. And they highlight it so that you can tell that they understand at least what was in your lesson. It might not be perfect. It might not be completely perfect like in the warm up, but they're trying it. You got to give them that room to try stuff out. So then they're doing goal setting, where they're doing a line length goal. They're drawing a line, hoping that they get that far that day, and they can track that too. I have trackers for that, so they can see if they're getting more stamina. Can they write more in an amount of time? And then they also work in trios, so they will share their workout in a group of 3. And then I have them rely on this group. This group kind of becomes their support, especially when it gets into essays and all of that. But within their trios, the students are looking for diamonds in their writing as well, in the other students' writing, and they point that out to them. It's such a good community builder. My writing program kind of becomes like your SEL curriculum. They learn how to complement each other and support each other. It's awesome. When I grade them, I would give them a monthly skills assessment. And in that, they are writing a passage or a story or whatever, right? And they get to pick what they want to write about. Now, the key is that I tell them, you can pull a story or something you've written in workshop and just revise it and rework it, or you can pull something from one of your quick writes and rework that one if you'd like. Sometimes the students will take a quick write and pull that story over into workshop, make it better in workshop, and then pull that story out again for their monthly assessment. So you start to see how they are making decisions about their writing, and they're digging into the things that they feel like they're good at and then get graded on that. And that changes their mindset. So when they get assessed, I want to see them demonstrate 2 different skills that we've learned. And they get to pick which skill they want me to grade them on. I have a little checklist. Mrs. Mellon, I want you to look for my hook, and I want you to look for sentence complexity. And then they highlight it. It's all color coded. And then I give them a grade based on that. So they'll start to realize that I can't really goof around, because I'm going to get assessed every month on this stuff. And the more work I do now, the easier this assessment will be for me, because I already have it practically done. I don't have to start from scratch. With CER, again, spot checks all the time, and I lean on ClassKick for this a lot, because in there your sticker can say, you need quoted evidence. You need to use reasoning here. You can word it however you want. And then I can see everyone on the screen, glance real quick, sticker, whichever one they need. It saves me so much time. And then I integrate this expectation into any kind of reading responses we're doing. So for literature, when they turn in some kind of writing for that, they are using CER in their answers. So I'm spot checking, and then they're graded within their reading. All right. So let's move into the mastery part of this. And this is where they're going to demonstrate, they're essentially going to pull everything together. And this is where they go into their essay writing. Essay writing is not workshop writing. It's something totally different. And I'm going to explain to you exactly how I do that. And you're going to go over to this next video, and we will go into deep, deep talks about how to do essays and make them stick and really show off all the skills that they've learned. So I'll see you over in that one.